watching The Breakdown with the Fight Analyst, Garrett Kerman.
And welcome back to another episode of The Breakdown. I am your host, the Fight Analyst, Garrett Kerman. And with me, as always, is my man, the MMA professor himself, Mr. Colin Crandall. What's up, man? How's it going?
All good, man. I sometimes I think we should make sure people know The Breakdown is called The Breakdown because once in a while, at some point, you can expect the old MMA professor here to have a nervous breakdown, which I'm not far away from, I think. Hopefully it won't happen, though. I think, in fact, I think they should call it the Millennial Breakdown because, and I know you're a millennial, but you're one of the more mature millennials that's got it together. I think in the millennial era, everyone's having a breakdown all the time. Back in Generation X, if you started to fall apart, your friends would say, come on, fucking get your shit together. Get your head out of your ass. Stop fucking around. Get back to work and do what you need to do. But now everyone's having a breakdown and everyone's like, oh, you're having a breakdown? Well, then, you can't work.
We have a breakdown here. We have a breakdown, breaking down fights and making money, right?
Yes, that's what it is, man. That's why we're here, man, to help let you guys cash out at the betting window. We got the Kerminator, Garrett Kerman, and the MMA professor here, man, and he's the fight analyst as well. And I'm just glad to be here with this fantastic guy. He's like a brother from another mother. He's like a younger brother, and I have younger brothers, but he's like a younger brother I always wanted that would be a fight fan. And my brothers were always like, yeah, I'll watch 2 fights a year to make Colin happy. And I'm like, man, what happened? Where? This guy should have been my younger brother.
Well, I am one of your younger brothers. You're my older brother. You're the brother that I've always wanted. Let's put it that way.
Thank you, brother. I appreciate that. I hope to be one day something good that some people like other than just my close friends. But then again, if my close friends like me, that's the most important thing. Anyway, Garrett, you are awesome. What an interesting card we have here. I'll let you take it away as always, and then we'll jump into it.
Yeah, man. I mean, we have a good card on top. It's we lost the main event with Rafael dos Anjos and Rafael Fiziev due to some visa issues for Fiziev, but we still got them coming up next month at UFC 272 for the co-main event, so that's gonna be an absolute banger. But we still have a banger, 5 rounds. Johnny Walker, Jamal Hill, light heavyweight fight. It's gonna be crazy. I don't expect it to go 25 minutes. It's going to be a great fight. We got some pretty good fights on this card. It's still a little lackluster in terms of talent goes. But there are spots to make some money, and that's what we're here for. We're here to break it down. We're here to get to the nitty gritty and, make some money, make you guys some money. We came off a great, weekend at UFC 271. We did very, very well with our bets, cashed some good dogs, cashed my big bet on Jared Cannonier. Knew going in that man was going to absolutely starch Blonde Brunson.
Called that right away. You called that right.
Man, crazy though. Very, very close in that first round of getting finished. But I want to know your take. What happened to Blonde Brunson in round 2? He looked fine. He looked fine in the beginning of the round. And then after that, he looked like a deer in the headlights. He looked like old Brunson on the feet. Brunson. He had eyes wide open, like not doing anything, not responding, not even throwing. He just backing up. So it was really weird. He was a completely different fighter in that second round versus the first round. I don't know if it was a complete cardio dump or what it was, but what do you think actually happened there?
Just the wrestling. The wrestling is exhausting. I think that I've learned a lot about wrestling over the years. I know a lot of people are newfound collegiate wrestlers or high school wrestlers because they realize it's popular. And then all of a sudden you try to find any evidence that they wrestled anywhere and you can't. I'm not that way. I'm not going to throw out that I wrestled anywhere because I didn't. But I've been following it and learning it at grappling class to a good extent to be able to really understand the concept. And I have a lot of good friends. Also, welcome to our good friend, the real blood diamond, Michael Cook. He's there, and we're in the house. And Michael, you're in the house. We're glad to see you, brother. Anyway, so I believe that the wrestling is very exhausting. I think that at 38 years old, like Brunson is, it's even more difficult to not max out your muscles. Wrestling takes so much dynamic core strength, and you got everything in there, your hamstrings, your quads, your calves, your groin muscles, your lower back, everything to be coming in, shooting in. And I think that either just his muscles were maxed from because he put on a wrestling clinic in that first round, but I think either his muscles were maxed or he pulled something, jacked something up. But
it's possible.
Yeah, and also with really good wrestlers like Brunson, they're not going to shoot in if they're not seeing the opportunity and if they're not seeing the openings. As you get older, you see the openings, but then you can't get there quick enough. So I think that, right? So I think, where is it? Could be the boot. That's right, exactly, Michael Cook. That's right, because it was amazing that he was going to be like scamming your name there. You're the Blood Diamond. How can someone come into the UFC be the Blood Diamond? It has to be Michael Cook. So, yep, I think that's what happened. But, all respect to the old Blood Diamond and Izzy's camp. But anyway, so I think it was just either he jacked his body up a little bit, his muscles were maxed, and he just wasn't seeing the opening, and he wasn't going to go in there and take bad shots against a guy like Cannonier. And yeah, he just the wrestling, the ability to wrestle was gone, and in that second round. And I think as Cannonier started to see that, he just basically said, "Okay, this guy's." Because Cannonier probably saw a couple opportunities where Brunson would have shot, and then he didn't, and he's like, "Okay, this guy can't shoot anymore, so that's it." And that was it.
Yeah, that's kind of what I thought would happen. I knew he'd get him taken down. I knew it was inevitable he would have gotten taken down there. I just thought Cannonier would be good enough to not get finished and to get back up, and he did well. It was close. It was pretty damn close. I think maybe 10, 15 more seconds, it would have been a whole different story. But he did what he needed to do. He got out of that first round, and man, he absolutely dispatched him. It was crazy. I was happy because, like I said, that was my best bet on the entire card.
Did I? Yep. Did I fuck us up again? Yeah. Sorry. Continue. Thank you. You got to disable that, so I'm not allowed to do that anymore. Anyway.
All right, moving on. All right. UFC 271, great fight card. Izzy got it done. Retains the title. He's not going to go against Jared Cannonier. That's going to be a great fight, and we'll see what happens there. But let's jump into this card. I don't want to keep everybody too long. I've had a long week. I want to get this breakdown done. I want to get you guys paid. I want to get you guys some money. That's what we're here for. We're here to give you some, great betting advice. Put cash in your pockets. That's what we love to do. We did it last week.
That's right.
And we're going to do it again this week. So let's jump right to it. All right. So our first fight up on the prelims, I believe, is in the bantamweight division between Mario Batista and newcomer Jay Perrin, I believe.
Yeah.
And right now, Batista is a massive minus 365 favorite. And the comeback on Jay Perrin is a plus 280 underdog. What you got in this one?
Mario Batista should win that fight. He's a tough dude. 8-2 record out of Phoenix. MMA Lab. Always they have a great bunch of people there. A lot of people forget about them over there since Fight Ready is getting a lot of attention and stuff with Cejudo and like that. But MMA Labs always got a bunch of really good guys there. Batista coming off a loss to Trevin Jones, where he did get caught pretty quickly into the fight, 40 seconds in. Before that, he had 2 good wins over Jin Soo Sun and Miles Johns. He had the misfortune of them pairing him up against Corey Sandhagen in his very first UFC fight 2.5 years ago, or no, 3 years ago now, but which sucks. But so he's 2-2. This is an important fight for him to get to be 3-2. Comparing Jay Perrin to Corey Sandhagen or Miles Johns or Trevin Jones is not really any comparison. Although it's hard to know when you got a guy that's making his UFC debut, coming out of CES and other things, and where is he? He's coming out of New Hampshire. All these great champions in the UFC from New Hampshire. Wait a second, are there all these great contenders we've had from New Hampshire?
Oh wait,
no one's fighting good from New Hampshire in the UFC. This would be the first guy if he does something here, and I know he would like to be, but he is the Savage, Jay Perrin, and out of City of Tong, over there on the East Coast are a bunch of tough guys. So he's going to be a good striker. He is going to be a good striker.
He's actually a good grappler.
He is a good grappler too. I can see that he's submitted guy. So you know what? Perez seems like a pretty balanced guy, but this should be Bautista. I wouldn't lay that chalk though. Too much chalk to lay, but a parlay piece, I would say yes, Bautista. My thought.
Yeah. I wasn't really too fond of Perrin. We've seen him on the Contender Series. He a good grappler. He's tough. He's scrappy, but I just don't think he's like next level. He arguably lost his fight against Diego Silva. And then he had a good win against Josh Smith in his last fight, last year. But we're talking he hasn't fought since, September. So it's about almost 6 months. And I don't know if he's not coming straight off the couch, but you're talking about a guy that I don't actually. He was in fight camp, actually. He was in fight camp for another fight in March in a couple weeks. So he was ready. Yeah, so he stayed ready. So he got the call. I just don't think, I feel like this is too much too soon for him. I know he's got 14 fights, 14 professional fights. I just think Bautista, you look at the resume who he's fought already, 4 fights in. Trevin Jones, who's been around the block. Miles John, Sandhagen, those 3 out of 4 fights. And he gave hell to Sandhagen. He knocked out Miles Johns in the feed, so that was impressive. I mean, Jay Perrin's best win is Johnny Campbell, maybe.
Right. And also, isn't this a short notice for Perrin? Perrin,
right.
He's placing.
It's short notice, but it would be different if it was short notice and this guy wasn't training for a fight. He's been in camp, so I really don't think the short notice nature is really going to be much of an issue. I just think this is just Mario Bautista is a little bit of a level above Perrin here.
Yeah, this is a little bit of a soft spot compared to his last 4 fights in the UFC.
Right. Oh yeah, for sure. Absolutely. Yeah. So I got Bautista winning here. I don't like the chalk. Maybe I put him in a little bit of a parlay. Nothing crazy. Yeah. Very, very minuscule parlay. I think I put together a nice little heavy favorite type of parlay because that's the only way I'd play any of these super heavy favorites. But yeah, I just put that little together. Just throw him in there. I think he gets it done. All right. Next up, we have a fight at 145 pounds between Jonathan Pierce and Christian Rodriguez. Right now, Pierce is a massive -400 favorite, and the comeback on Rodriguez is a +300 underdog. What do you got?
All right, Jonathan Pierce, the man they call JSP. Fighting
very original, let me tell you.
Yeah, you got to love that one. You had to reach for that one. But all respect to Mr. Pierce. Seems like a good guy. Big smiling picture of him on the internet here with his record. 29 years old, 5'11", 145, tall for a featherweight. Yeah, fighting out of Fight Ready. And he is coming off a couple of good wins. He had his first fight against Joe Lauzon in Boston. And that was Lauzon's last fight. It was in Boston. Excuse me. I was in press row for that fight. And I just think that Pierce wasn't really ready for that fight and did get stopped early by Joe Lauzon. There's no shame in that. Came back, though, and did stop Kai Kamaka the third, which was definitely impressive. And then he did sub Omar Morales. And he is a guy that finishes people. He finishes people at featherweight, which not a lot of guys are doing that. In fact, out of 11 wins, he's got 8 KOs and 2 subs. So when he wins, it's almost always a finish. Really, really good, tough guy. And then we got Christian Rodriguez, who is, another guy making his UFC debut. He won the Contender Series, and he went back and fought.
Short notice as well.
Yeah. NAFC Super Bowl brawl, and then he got what the hell is he doing? He's a finisher too, though. He's another finisher.
Yeah.
So someone's getting finished in this fight almost without a doubt. They're both willing to put themselves in bad positions and take risks. 7-0. Rodriguez is 7-0. Some of these dudes that come up with that kind of confidence that are undefeated are dangerous. Some of them actually pull it off. So I would really think Jonathan Pierce wins this fight, but I don't ever want to lay chalk like this, especially when you got an opponent's undefeated and is a pretty good fighter. I'm saying minus 290, minus 300, minus 280. Not as big as what I think you saw somewhere, but yeah,
He's minus four. He's minus 400.
I'm saying, well,
I'm saying he's minus 345, minus 350, minus 375.
Really? Let me see. Maybe I didn't refresh what I'm looking at here from keeping it on the screen the other day, but I don't think that's what I'm saying. Where is it? Yes, yep. I had not wait a second. So, yep, I had not refreshed it. I must have had that on the screen for 3 days or something. Yeah, and or it was Pierce against someone else. I think I was looking at. But anyway, yeah, I'm not gonna. I don't like the chalk on that, but probably Pierce wins. But I would say if you can make money that the fight goes under, what's the over under? It's probably 1.5. I wish it was 2.5.
It really depends on your book because some are having right now over 1.5 and the others are having over 2.5.
Okay, if you can get 2.5, I'd go under.
Yeah, I like under 2.5 too at minus 175. I think that's pretty decent.
That's the only bet I would make.
Yeah, because one of these guys gets clipped at some point in this fight.
I think so.
They're gonna come forward. They're gonna throw down. Even Pierce could get a submission. I mean, that's where I'm leaning. I'm leaning towards Pierce could take him down and just grind him out and eventually, ground and pound TKO or sink in the rear naked choke. He's obviously the much bigger fighter, the much more experienced fighter, fought really good competition. Outside of the UFC as well as inside the UFC, very good wins back to back against Kai Kamaka and Omar Morales. What he did against Morales was very surprising to me. I was actually pretty big on Morales in that fight, and I was very surprised the way he was able to just take him down rather easily, like extremely easily, and absolutely control him and absolutely batter him on the mat. And he just broke his will, and Morales literally gave up in the second round, gave him his back, and that was all she wrote. Very, very impressive win. I even think he has the ability to be a top 15, top 20 fighter at 145 pounds. He's got the skills, and he's now at a good fight camp as well. He's got a good chin on him. I don't believe he's been finished by knockout, and majority of Rodriguez's wins are by knockout as well. So I think Rodriguez is going to hit him. He's going to hit him hard, but I think Pierce is going to be able to take those punches and still come forward. And eventually Rodriguez is going to wilt under the pressure, under the pace, under the bright lights, on short notice. I don't believe he was in a fight camp. The octagon jitters are real. The dude's only 7-0. He's legit. But if he doesn't blast through him in round one, I think he's going to be in for, a rude awakening come the later portion of this fight. I think Pierce has the cardio advantage, and he can drown him late as long as he doesn't get KO'd in the first round. And I feel like that's what's going to happen here.
Very possibly. Let me touch on one of our comments real quick. Jesse Hobson says McGregor beats them all, even Colin Crandall. I think you have a good point. You have it in reverse. I think he beats me, but doesn't beat anybody else. Well, no, he can beat some good guys. But I will say this: yes, McGregor I think would beat me at this point in my. What am I saying? At any point in my life, probably I would have lost an MMA style fight to Conor McGregor. But I appreciate you throwing that out there, Jesse, because it shows you must have some faith that this old dog maybe still has some chops here. And but yeah, I think I'd get chopped down by Conor McGregor fairly easily, even if I'm a fair amount bigger than him. Not much taller, but more of a big frame. But it doesn't really matter because I am not an elite level, nor have I ever been an elite level MMA fighter. And Conor McGregor has. But I appreciate you, Jesse. Michael Cook, the Blood Diamonds got the pick on Jessica Rose Clark. And that could very be the best luck. Could be a lock. We'll talk about that. We'll come to that fight, but understand your thoughts on that. Michael, get it back to Garrett Kerman. Are we ready to proceed to the next one, or do we need to?
No, let's do it. Let's keep it moving. All right. Next up, we have a fight in the women's strawweight division between Diana Belvita and Gloria De Paula, I believe. Right now, Belvita is a minus 125 favorite, and the comeback on Paula is a plus 105 underdog. Who do you got?
Does Belvita make you think of any cheese product?
Yep. When I say it, I'm thinking I'm saying Velveeta. I'm like,
Yes,
am I saying
yes.
Velveeta or is it
Yep.
Velveeta?
I'll let you know what Velveeta you can kind of put in the category with like spam, right?
Oh
And
man,
those little and those
Velveeta's
cocktail
good
weenies.
though. I don't know.
Yeah.
Velveeta's sometimes that Velveeta hits the spot.
Does it really? Yeah, well, that's good. If you like that, then like I always say, and I've never been really wealthy or anything, but I always would tell my girlfriend or friends of mine that can eat spam and the cocktail weenies out of a can and Velveeta cheese that good on you, because if you ever become super poor, you're on the street and your food's coming from a food pantry, you will be able to enjoy the food that you get. So that is not a bad thing, because we're all a whisker away from being in that position, God forbid, as they say. Anyway, Diana, Warrior Princess Velveeta, she's doing some training with a buddy of mine and also with Jessica Rose Clark. So the Warrior Princess, man, oh man, she's better than Velveeta cheese. Let me tell you, she looks better too, and tastes better. Arguably, I haven't tasted her, but other people said, never mind, forget that. We we have Diana Velveeta, and she's coming off a good win over Hannah Goldie after having lost to Liana Jojua and Meatball Molly McCann. So this one will make her 2-2 in the UFC. If she loses, she'll be 1-3, which is not where you want to be in the UFC. 25 years old, very, very, very young, and she got into the UFC 2.5 years ago when she was 22 and a half or just turned 23. That's tough. That's tough. But I think she's coming into her own. 5'7" for a strawweight. She's tall. 14-6, 20 fights for a 25-year-old. That's a lot of action. Her opponent, Gloria De Paula, has some judo a little bit, I think, or some wrestling. Gloria is from Brazil, whereas Velveeta is from Romania. There you go.
Trained in Canada.
So, yeah, from Canada, right? So, 5'5", giving away 2 inches in height, is De Paula, the Brazilian. 5-4. Her UFC record is 0-2. So these girls are fighting for their jobs. De Paula came off that very impressive performance at the Contender Series, which I watched against Paulina Pita Macias, the decorated judoka, and did beat her. And then she lost to Jinyu Fry, and she lost to Cheyenne Vlismas. And this is tough, man. Both these girls really, really don't want another L on their record. So they're going to be scrapping. But I'm going to go for Diana Velveeta. I think that she is a slight favorite, and I think the chalk is very reasonable there. I'd go a couple of units on Velveeta.
Yeah, this is a fight I really don't want to bet on per se. It's just not. I don't have the best of read, but the way I feel this is going to go down, De Paula is the better striker of the two. This fight's going to be fought primarily on the feet. Both of them like to strike. Velveeta loves to come forward, loves to just put the pace, put the pressure on her opponent, and just get in there and just get dirty and just stay in your face and just throw it down. That's what she wants to do. And De Paula likes to, she's a good kickboxer. She's light on her feet. She uses a lot of her movement. But the thing is, she lets her opponents dictate the pace. And I feel Velveeta is going to be able to do that. I feel like she's going to keep walking her down, cut off the cage, and just stay in her face the entire fight. So De Paula is literally going to have to be on her bike for 15 minutes, and that's going to be exhausting for her. I do think Velveeta could possibly get her out of there late. She's going to land some heavy shots at one point for majority of the fight, and I think she takes a wide unanimous decision just by pressuring, just coming forward for 15 minutes. It's going to be too much for De Paula to stay on the outside and just stick and move for 15 minutes. She's going to be absolutely exhausted, not taking a step forward. So yeah, I'm taking Velveeta here. Not going to bet it, but I lean towards her way.
Yeah. Do you think she should change her nickname to Gotta Be the Cheese?
No, I don't think that would work.
No, maybe not.
Maybe not.
Continue.
All right, moving on. We got a fight in the featherweight division between Chad Skelly and Mark Striegel. Mark Striegel. Right now, Skelly is a -200 favorite, and the comeback on Striegel is a +170 underdog. Who do you got?
My little brother went to school with a guy whose last name was Skelly. He came over to our house, and it was a really nice house. We had like the nicest house on the block. And this kid, Skelly, was like 7 years old, and he came into the house and said, "This house is ugly. I don't like it." And my mom was like, her mouth was hanging open. And then she started laughing. My mom was kind of a whack job. God bless her. May she rest in peace. But she was first shocked, and then she started cracking up. And I was like, leave it to some Skelly to come in and insult your nice parents' house. I mean, maybe I need to get a fight set with this Chaz Skelly. I still got some intensity on that. But anyway, let's see what we got here with Skelly. Chaz Skelly. There we go, man. I think I should change my name to Chaz Skelly. Can I pull it off? Do I look like a Chaz Skelly a little bit to you, or not really?
No, it looks like a Colin.
I'll take it. Colin Crandall somehow fits. Chaz Skelly. There we go. So you better. That's what I got. The scrapper, Chaz Skelly, fighting out of Sanford MMA, 18-3. Skelly's been in the UFC since 2014. Had a good bunch of fights. Definitely a winning record. Coming off a win over Jordan Griffin. A no contest. Turn that right off. A no contest. Bobby Moffett. He lost to Jason Knight. Beat Chris Gritzmacher. Beat Blanco. So in his last 3 fights, he's 1-1-1. So another win would be very desired by the Skelly camp. 5'11", 145. Another tall featherweight. And he's a tough dude. 36 years old. That's getting a little bit old in the featherweight division. That's not in your prime as a featherweight, no matter what anyone says.
Oh, Skelly's way out of his prime.
Yeah, but he's still got some skills. He's still got some skills, and you know me, I like to cheer for the older guys because I'm older than the older guys in the UFC. So loving the fact that he's still hanging. The man, he's going against Striegel. Wasn't that like a pastry that older people would serve? Here, have some Striegel. I don't know. It sounded to me like some pastry my grandma had.
Like a strudel?
Something like that. That's it. Strudel, Striegel. It's the same concept. Anyway, all respect to Mark Striegel, the Mugen. He is out of the Philippines, and he is 18-3. He came in there with a whole bunch of sound and fury, and that old saying, a whole bunch of sound and fury signifying nothing, is what happened when he went up against Said Nurmagomedov, although that fight did age well with Said, showing that he's an absolute beast. Striegel is coming in at 33 years old, so he's only got a 3-year age advantage, 5'8", a little bit shorter. This is who knows in this fight. I would have to say that for me, it would probably be dog or pass. I don't think putting -200, -205, or 210 on a 36-year-old Chaz Skelly. Although I really wouldn't be excited about putting anything on Striegel. I don't see myself getting the betting window on this fight at all. I don't get a read on it. I don't like the chalk on Skelly, but I don't like Striegel. So that's what I can give on this. How about you? I'm curious to see your thoughts.
This is my first dog bet of the night. I'm taking Mark Striegel here, +170. I actually got him a +180 earlier in the week. I think around Monday. Did a little bit of the tape study, did a little bit of the interview, reading, listening, all that good stuff. Skelly, hasn't fought in 3 years. Coming off.
Ooh, I didn't even notice that. 3 years?
He has not fought since he was 33 years old. Now he's 36 years old.
Okay, so yeah, I'll revise to say I'm still not super excited about Striegel, but I like that he's a dog. I think there's value. Continue.
He's also saying that he's most likely going to retire after this fight. He's had nagging injuries, which was kept him out for 3 years, and he's had surgery. So this is first fight post-surgery and all the nagging injuries. He was, I believe, the last one or second to last one to weigh in as well. So he had a hard weight cut because he hasn't cut weight in 3 years. So, those are all very, very bad red flags for somebody that's a minus 200 or worse favorite, which is kind of insanity. And I understand it to a point, because he's so much more experienced against high level competition than Striegel, but you also have to factor in all the red flags. So at least that should have deflated his line just a bit. But I think Striegel's not really getting the love that he should, and rightfully so. That knockout's pretty much embedded into his betting line. You know what I mean? Because he only lasted, I think, about like 50-something seconds until he got started.
Right.
But that's not going to happen with Chad Skelly. Skelly's not going to go in there and try to strike with him. He's going to go in there to grapple. And guess what? Striegel is a very good grappler himself. He's got 14 wins by submission. Both these guys are going to come in there. They're going to grapple. There's going to be a ton of scrambles. And what we've seen from Skelly in the past, he fades as the fight goes on. He absolutely was getting pieced up by Jordan Griffin in round 3. And if Griffin had any ounce of takedown defense in that last round, he would have won that. He would have won that fight. He would have put Skelly away. Skelly's gonna gas out after round 1. That's almost a given. This dude is not gonna have the cardio to go 15 minutes. And I think Striegel could potentially, keep, just putting it on him as the fight goes on. And he's now at the MMA lab. This is his first time training at the MMA lab. I think he's been getting in a ton of good wrestling rounds over there. So I do expect him to be at his best right now. I do think he's going to win some of the exchanges on the mat. I do think he's going to get taken down, but as long as he doesn't, lay flat in his back, I think he's going to use some of the butterfly hooks to get back up. I feel like he's going to get back to his feet. He's definitely the better striker. He's got better movement. He's far more athletic. He's far more stronger than Skelly right now, and I think he's going to have the cardio advantages. Hopefully, I mean, we've seen Striegel in the past tend to fade as the fight goes on, but I mean, it's hard for him to have worse cardio than Skelly right now. 36 years old, coming off 2.5 years of not fighting at all or cutting weight. So yeah, I'm taking Striegel here. We're getting a really good dog money bet. I probably would have bet him all the way up to plus 140. So I think we're getting a lot of good value on here. It's not something I'm going to go and throw the bank at, but I do like it here. I think he gets it done. And and you're getting plus 170. Why the hell not?
Yeah, I agree. I haven't cut weight in about 3.5 years either, and I wouldn't bet on myself in a fight where I had to cut weight either. So that's a good call. Also, thank you, Michael Cook, for saying it looked like Tim Kennedy. I think it might be maybe the shape of the face, or just that he and I both have that 1980s haircut still that we had since we were little kids. And then a motivation there, Striegel. Take the money, Striegel. Michael Cook's got a good point. And, as I can say, Michael, you're cooking, as usual. Hope you like that one.
All right, moving on. In the women's bantamweight division, we have a fight between Jessica Rose Clark and Stephanie Egger. Right now, Clark is a minus 165 favorite, and the comeback on Egger is a plus 145 underdog. Who do you got?
So could Stephanie Egger, by way of namesake, be thought of kind of as a ham and egger, as they used to say? And, if someone was kind of a journeyman fighter, right? Is she a ham and egger, or is she just an egger? And is that worse than a ham and egger, or does that make you better because the ham's not in there? I don't know what the hell she's talking about with this Stephanie Egger, but let's just say she's not a ham and egger. She's a tough fighter. She's tall, 5'7", 135. She's 6'2", 33 years old, and she's 1-1 in the UFC. She took a shot at Tracy Cortez and lost, like most fighters do when they fight against Tracy Cortez. She came in there and beat Shauna Young with an elbow, which not most, but some fighters do. Several fighters do when they face Shauna Young. And before that, who knows what the hell she was doing. She was over in Invicta and she lost it. And so Stephanie Egger apparently has some judo, has some grappling. She's out of Switzerland, St. Gallen, 33 years old. Jessica Rose Clark, Jess, 34 years old, 5'5". She's giving away about 2 inches of height. 11-6 out of Queensland, Australia. Love the Aussies, man. Aussie. She's been looking pretty good at well, I was going to say at 125, but she's back up at 135. She lost to Jessica I and Penny Chianza. No shame in that. She beat Sarah Alpar and Jocelyn Edwards. This is a tough fight. This is another one that's really tough. I'm thinking Jessie Jess on this one, although I know that there's a lot of interest, and I think late money's coming in on Egger. But I will say that just low-key excited and leaning toward the side of the girl that's not the Ham and Egger, which is Jessie Jess to beat the Ham and Egger in this fight in the person of Samantha Egger. Not much money, though, quite half a unit, quarter of a unit.
All right.
What's your thoughts?
I like Jessie Jess in this fight. You know, she's shown that she's improved over the years. She's now 2-1 since moving back up to 135. She looked really good in her last two wins. You know, she's got good takedown defense, and she's looked really good and fluent on the feet in her strikes as well. And then she's going against a woman, and Stephanie Egger, who's, you know, a judoka. She's got really good, you know, hip tosses. She's very good in the clinch. She's very strong. She's good on the mat. She does grappling, tournaments and stuff like that. So she's very well versed in the grappling realm, and pretty much that's the only place that she's even remotely comfortable, because that range she's not good at all. Clark should have her way on the feet as long as she keeps it there, is able to keep it there. She should win this fight rather easily. Egger has nothing for Clark on the feet. Clark should be able to land at will, land way more volume throughout the entire fight. It's just whether or not she can keep this fight off the fence and stay upright. That's my only issues. I think she'd be able to. She might get taken down early going, but I do expect her to get back up. I do expect her to win the exchanges on the feet for sure. I'm going to play Jessie Jess to win by decision at plus 130. I think we're getting a good line there. Chances of her getting a finish against Egger, not very likely. She's not going to do what she did to Sarah Alper. It's just not going to happen. So I'm taking Jessie Jess here. I'm taking her by decision. I think we cut all that juice down to plus 130. I think that should be at least minimum. I mean max. It should be at least a pick'em line, because that's the way that I think she's only going to win. She's only going to win via decision. She's not going to get finished. So I'm taking her to win via decision at plus 130. I think we're getting decent value there.
How great would it be if after Jessie wins, if she talks to Joe Rogan or whoever's talking to her, probably not Joe, and says, "I'm not going to lose to a Ham and Egger, so had to take that one clearly straight away." How do you like that? Michael Cook, he's over there. I think the South African, but how is that for an Aussie accent? I got to switch back. I wasn't going to lose to this Ham and Egger.
I don't know if that's on an Aussie accent or if it's something else.
Something Michael Cook will tell us, But anyway, let's wait for Michael's response. But continue on. In the meantime, so we got Jessica Rose Clark. Horrible. What do you mean? That's my good Aussie. I can talk like an Aussie. What are you talking about there, mate? I got an Aussie accent down perfectly, mate. What are you talking about there, right?
Oh my God.
Anyway, continue, Garrett Kerwin.
Moving on. Next fight is our featured prelim on the fight card, and it's at 145 pounds between Gabriel Mowgli Benitez and David Onama. Right now, Onama, in his sophomore fight in the UFC, is a minus 170 favorite, and to come back on Mowgli Benitez plus 150. Who do you got?
Well, David, whose nickname is Don't Forget My Name, Onama. And then no, it's actually the Silent Assassin. But this fight, what he's trying to do is he's trying to get people not to forget or to remember his Onama in this fight. This is one of his missions here. So 5'10", 145, 8-1. 0-1 in the UFC, lost to Mason Jones.
Short notice. Up a
On
week
short
loss.
notice, yep. Right. So he's 5'10", 145, 8-1, 27 years old, tough kid, got some skills. Over at Glory MMA and Fitness, James Krause. We did a great interview with James about a month or so ago. Always good talking to him. Actually, about 6 weeks ago, I think. Mowgli Benitez, you just don't know, man. On a good day, Benitez can beat Garrett Kerman, and on a bad day, I beat Benitez. So try to figure that. It's so hard to know, what happens to that. But then Kerman beats me. So who knows? MMA math. Try to figure it, right? Anyway, Gabriel Benitez, Mowgli, man, oh man, he's been in the UFC since 2014. And he's been winning some and losing some. Lately, more losing than winning. Beat Justin James, but lost to Billy Q. Omar Morales, Sadiq Yusuf, not looking too good. He's at a great school like AKA. It's got to be tough to be a guy who's at a really good school that keeps losing. I mean, I don't know. I know they try to stay loyal to their people there, and Javier Mendez is a really good dude. I've interviewed him several times. But it's got to be tough when you're with a team of guys that are not only mostly winning, but are winning almost every fight, and then you're losing most of your fights. I don't know. Mowgli is 33. He's just the A side of this is Onama. And so I think that probably going with David, remember my name, Onama. Remember the name Onama is probably the A side. I don't know though. I'm not liking this fight. I'm just not liking this fight either. I'm leaning Onama, but he shouldn't be minus 160 or minus 170. Should be like almost even. But you know what? I can't. Mowgli needs this win. Benitez needs this win. You know what? And he missed weight, and that gives him the advantage. You know what? I wouldn't bet a cent on this fight. This could go either way. No read on this. How about you?
I'm actually, I think David Onama was one of my more confident plays on the card, and not just because of how good he looked in a short notice fight against Mason Jones, just his physical gifts, and his just what he brings to the table. It's what Benitez, fails against, and he's shown that in his 3 losses, he's failed, to beat pressure fighters. And that's what Onama is. He's a pressure fighter. He's going to come forward, he's going to stay in your face, and he's going to throw down. And Benitez wilts under pressure. We saw it in the Sadiq Yusuf fight. He got finished against the cage in round 1. You've seen it in Billy Q. He was coming forward, putting the pace, putting the pressure on him, drowned him in the later rounds due to his insane cardio. Onama's got cardio. He's shown that in the Mason Jones fight. He was having to grapple against Mason Jones at 155 pounds, not his natural weight class. And, and he was able to go the 15 minutes. He didn't get finished. He was able to hang in there on the feet with Mason Jones, a guy that's been taking out everybody before him. So he was very, very impressive, even with the loss. It's very good when you're impressive in a loss, sometimes more so than a win, because you're like, damn, okay, maybe, you got something there. But, he's down in his natural weight class. The dude is huge for 145 as well. He packs a good punch in his in those hands. He's got 5 of his 8 wins by knockout, 3 by submission. He's got really good wrestling, which he could use mightily if you really wanted to. If you want to play smart here, he could take Mowgli down and control him and potentially finish him on the mat. He's got that in his back pocket. We've seen Benitez, get taken down. We've seen him get controlled on the mat. But that's here nor there. The thing is with Onama, he's got multiple different ways he can win. He can win on the feet. He can win in the clinch. He can win on the ground. Mowgli literally has to fight the perfect fight to win this fight. He's got to be on his bike for 15 minutes. He's got to throw kicks. He's got to stay at distance for 15 minutes without getting blasted, without getting knocked out, without taking so much damage that he's been taking. If we've noticed, that damage has been taking a toll on him in his 5 losses in the UFC. Right, 3 of them are inside the distance. He's been finished 3 times in his 5 losses. And if you look at the wins and losses, the losses are against good competition, but the wins are against bad competition. So that means he's beating bad competition but losing to good competition. So that's never a good thing. All of his wins are against guys that are not in the UFC anymore. All of them are long gone. And, he's going against an up-and-coming talent in David Onama, who's young, hungry, ready to get in there, ready to get into space and throw down. And I do think the deciding factor is if Onama starts pumping that jab out there and really sticking him with the jab. If he dominates the jab in this fight early and often, I think it's going to make this fight so much easier for him. It's going to be much harder for Benitez to find his range and stay at distance. And I think eventually we'll finish him. I do think he gets him out of there with inside probably 2 rounds. Yeah.
So you got David. Don't screw up Onama.
Yep, that's it. David. Yeah, whatever you said. Okay.
Good. Exactly. Good.
All right, moving on into our first fight on the main card. We have a fight at 185 pounds between Abdul Razak Al Hassan and Joaquin Buckley. Right now, Buckley's a minus 165 favorite in the comeback, and Al Hassan is a plus 145 underdog. Who do you got?
Yeah, it was a very friendly weigh-in, which is unusual for Al Hassan. It looked like the same guy standing across from each other. Literally,
right.
Same height, the same buff body type. Their face doesn't look exactly the same. Skin color was like the exact same shade. It looked literally like a guy fighting his brother. Excuse me. So I don't know whether that had anything to do with Hassan, but very friendly weigh-in. Although apparently Hassan had asked him if he brought a gun and said he needed better or brought a gun. He'll need one in this fight, whereas Buckley gave him some sort of photograph of something, who knows what. But this is an interesting fight. I think that the correct fighter is favored a little bit. I like the odds. Let's examine this. Let's put on the spectacles here. They're already on. Let me put them back on. And examine this fight under the professor's lens of expertise. So let's take a look over here. Abdul Razak Al Hassan fought at 170 for quite a while. Buckley, I don't think, could fight at 170, although he may have at one point, but probably not. Anyway, Judo Thunder, 5'10", 185. He was out of Fortis. Now, though, apparently I heard somewhere that he's over at Elevation.
Yep.
I think.
Yep.
So
ever since he lost to Jacob Malkoun, has now been at Colorado.
There you go. So he beat Alessio Di Chirico. Impressive win, catching him 17 seconds in. I wish that would have been longer. That could give us a better idea on the improvement he's made to catch someone that quick. I don't know. It's just not bad, but it doesn't show a lot. A lot of losses before that, and a lot of wins before that. Double tough dude. He is 36 years old, though. And at 185, that's not crazy, but it's not your prime. He is past his prime, even at middleweight. Tough dude, though. Arlington, Texas. I think originally out of somewhere in Africa, or I know he's from a different country. Al Hassan, from somewhere else, maybe the Middle East, but basically been here for several years and training. Not out of Texas anymore, but out of Colorado. My man Joaquin Buckley is now spending a lot of time at Finney's Hit Squad. I don't know what the hell that is, but he was training, and when he's in Michigan, where he's from, he was training a lot with Chaos Williams over at Murcielago in Lansing, Michigan. My buddy, the catch wrestling champ, Current Jacobs. I think he's over there at Extreme Couture or something like that now, but really tough guy, 27 years old, much younger, slightly shorter, maybe only an inch shorter. They show it as being 2 inches, but it wasn't. There wasn't one guy 2 inches taller than the other. I think Hassan maybe an inch taller, inch and a half, something. Buckley lost to Chirico, whereas Al Hassan caught him. You can't use that, though, because getting caught, it can happen to anyone. I think some people may be using that as the roadmap, but that would be if MMA math was perfect. where 2 and 2 always equals 4, which we know it isn't. I just think that Buckley is the better fighter. I think it's going to be a good fight. I don't think this fight's going the distance. I really don't. Although hard to say. I would say over 1.5. I definitely would. I would say under 2.5, but I definitely wouldn't go under 1.5. And the line is probably 1.5. I would guess, right? Yeah, of course. I like Joaquin Buckley here. He's one of my more confident bets. I just think he's better than Abdul Razak Al Hassan. What's the money on a Buckley by knockout?
It's even money at plus 100.
Okay. I like that, although that's not even giving you much more money than laying the chalk. I mean, well, I guess it depends on what your perspective is. Minus 100 plus 100 is way better than minus 170 if you're laying a lot of money. But if you're laying $20 or $50, not really that much of a difference. Right. So I might just say what I would do is Buckley straight bet laying the chalk. I like Buckley. I think we could put a couple of units on Joaquin Buckley to win this fight. But it's going to be scary. It's going to be fun. This could be fight of the night. But I think Joaquin Buckley is the A side here, much younger man and a higher ceiling.
Yeah, this is be a barn burner. I'm actually extremely excited for this fight. It's gonna be crazy, fun, exciting right off the bat. These two guys just come to throw down. They got some insane power, both of them. Buckley, he lost to Kiriko. He came back. He won a fight against Antonio Arroyo, who's not really good. For somebody that has such a huge height and reach advantage, he just doesn't use it that well. But somehow he was winning that fight. If I'm not mistaken, I'm almost certain he was up 2-0 in that fight before he got the knockout in the third round. I think he needed that knockout in the third round to win that fight. I could not. I could be mixing up fights.
I think you're right. No, I think you're right. By the way, he's from Ghana. Michael Cook mentioned El Hassan from Ghana. Thank you, Michael. Go ahead.
And Buckley's, I feel like he's got the speed advantage. I do think he's got the grappling advantage. But I don't know, something's just drawing me to betting Al Hassan as a dog here. I mean, I feel like this is 50-50 fight at best, and we're getting odds at plus 145, plus 150, and I feel like the line's just going to keep going up until fight time. I think we could even get Al Hassan all the way up to possibly plus 160, plus 165. I think money's going to come in late on Buckley, and I think we can get some value on Al Hassan, who I do think he's got the power to stand there and trade with Buckley. And I feel like he's, I know we don't know how much improvements he's had, the very big question marks, but the improvement that I wanted to see is his cardio, because, now he's training at full, elevation fight team. He's training in Colorado, and he's getting a ton of that elevation into his lungs, all of that hard breathing, helping him with his cardio. I want to see that. And I think, that could, potentially help his game a lot. Maybe he's able to go harder in the earlier rounds and still have some cardio towards the end. We'll see. I just think I'm going to take the shot on the dog here, plus 145. I think we're still getting some value. I think it's just an even fight. These guys are just the same type of fighter. They look the same. They fight the same. They're coming in there to knock each other's head off, and there's a chance that either one of these two can get the knockout, and it's only going to take one. And plus 145, plus 150 on a fight that essentially could possibly look like a 50-50 fight. Anybody's going to win. I'll take a shot. Why the hell not?
Yeah, I don't blame him. We're on the opposite side of this one, though. I really think Buckley, but then I don't make Buckley as one of my best bets in a long time. I don't say he's like a lock. I don't say, like, if something I'm really, really excited about, I'll sometimes say put 3-4 units on. Right. But I'd say this is like a two unit. I do have some confidence in Buckley, but would not be shocked if he didn't win. But I think he will. And you got Al Hassan. We'll see what happens. I know we both have been on the winning end when we've been on the opposite side. So
we'll see what happens. We'll
Yep.
see what happens. All right, moving on. We have a fight at 155 pounds between Jim Miller and Nicholas Mota. Right now, Mota is a minus 170 favorite, and the coming back on Jim Miller is a plus 150 underdog. And in this fight, there's a UFC record because Jim Miller. There's a discrepancy between the amount of UFC fights versus the amount of UFC fights for Mota and Miller. Miller has 39 UFC fights, not professional fights, UFC fights.
Yeah. Yep.
And Mota has a whopping zero.
Zero. Crazy. It literally them putting a UFC debut or a debutante against Jim Miller.
Veteran, super veteran, not just a veteran, a super veteran.
Yeah. I think that in this fight, Nicholas promises to smoke a lot more Mota before the fight than his opponent Jim Miller will. So we know Mota's got that going for him. The name, man, dig that name. And anyway, he is out of Brazil. Governor Governador Valadares and Minas Gerais, Brazil. The Iron Mota. That's the iron joint. Is what you could, well, not in Portuguese, but anyway, Iron Mota. And he's a tough dude, and he's one of the contender series against Joseph Lowry. I don't know. He's 29 years old, which is a lot younger than Jim Miller. 12-3. He's a tough dude. He does tend to finish guys. In fact, out of his 12 wins, he has 8 KOs and no submissions, but he does get people out of there 3/4 of the time by knockout. Jim Miller has not been knocked out for quite a while. In fact, when was the last time that he did get caught by a knee 4 years ago against Dan?
The thing is, in his last fight, he got rocked pretty effing bad in that first round.
Yeah, he did, and then he came back and won. That's the good thing about Miller. So Miller is 9 years older, 33-16, A10 Jim Miller. He is the A side here. I think that, and he's the dog. What's up with that? All over Jim Miller here, man. I think Jim Miller is going to smoke the Mota, and that will be in more ways than one, let's just say. So he'll be smoking it. He'll be smoking Nicholas Mota as well. Jim Miller, the old dog, man. A10, man. Got to go Jim Miller here. Probably a couple units like it. Jim Miller takes this.
Yeah, it's gonna be a good fight. Mota, he's got some serious power. We've seen it on the regional scene. Throughout his entire career, he's got some decent wins under his belt. He's got 15 professional fights, so he's got some decent experience. Obviously, nowhere near the experience of Jim Miller, but he's got decent experience coming into the his UFC debut. Thing is, he hasn't fought since 2020. Fight cancellations really screwed him up, and now he hasn't fought in 2 years. So now he's making his UFC debut. 2 years went later than he should have. It's gonna be tough, and now he's got to go against a guy that's been in there with the best of the best, fighting the who's who. He's got quadruple the fights that you have in the UFC alone, not even combined. But Jim Miller's a dog. Like you said, he hasn't been finished, and if he gets rocks, he's able to weather the storm and somehow get himself out of that round and into the next round, and then that's what normally takes over. Mota here minus 170. It's a little steep. I don't know why he's such a heavy favorite. Maybe I would make him a slight favorite, minus 120, minus 130. So you're definitely getting some value on Jim Miller here. And what I really would like to play is, Jim Miller by submission at plus 300. I think that's insane value. Just throw a little bit on that. If you're going to bet Jim Miller, I feel like that's the way to go, because chances are this hits a decision. I don't think Jim Miller's going to be the winning side here. I feel like he needs to get it done inside the distance. He tends to fade as the fight goes on, and Mota is normally going to be the A side when it comes to a decision victory. So I think Jim Miller has to get it done inside the distance, and I do like him to win by submission because majority of his wins are by submission, and 2 of Mota's 4 losses are by submission as well. So Jim Miller is also a Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu black belt. He's been
Yep.
training jiu-jitsu his whole life. So, if he takes it to the mat, if he's able to get it there, it's a good chance he gets a submission. And at plus 300, I think there's some value, and I might sprinkle a little bit on that.
Yeah, absolutely. I like that. My advice for Mota is to smoke as much Mota as you possibly can before this fight. It would make the defeat that much less unpleasant.
Yes. Yes. Okay, moving on. All right, next up, we have a fight in the heavyweight division between Alain Bardot and Parker Porter. Right now, Porter's a minus 290 favorite, and the comeback on Bardot is a plus 230 underdog. What do you got?
Man, oh man, I like that Parker Porter. He is Parker and he is Porter, and his body looks porky, but he is a tough guy, man. They could call him Triple P, Porky Parker Porter. Can you say that 10 times fast? Porky Parker Porter, Porky Parker Porter, Porky Parker Porter, Porky Parker Porter.
Okay.
Yes, he is awesome. I like him though. 6 feet even and just barely makes heavyweight. He is fast. He is slick. He doesn't care how his body looks, or even if it makes people sick. That's a riot. Anyway, never mind. It's not that bad, though. But anyway, he did lose to Chris Daukaus, but he's been on a winning streak since then. Beat Josh Parisian, beat Chase Sherman. He's a guy that will go for it. He fought just about 5 months ago, 36 years old. As a heavyweight, that's not that old.
No.
You're still relatively close to your prime as a heavyweight at that age. And he's been active. This is going to be his 4th or 5th UFC fight, his 4th. And he's 2-1 now on a 2-fight win streak. The man he's going up against, Alain Bardot. Bardot is from Lyon, France. The Black Samurai. He is coming from the same place as Cyril Gane and also briefly Francis Ngannou after he was raised in Cameroon and went to France. The Black Samurai is 6'3", 256 pounds, 8-2. He has 2 UFC fights and has a record of 0-1-1. He did get worked and beaten pretty badly by Tom Aspinall.
He got worked in both losses.
Yes, he did.
Because that no contest was because it was overturned or something like that.
Yeah, overturned. Yep, and so really this fight should be going to Parker Porter. Parker promises that if he wins this fight, his next fight he'll have a shredded 6-pack. Well, of beer at least, and he'll be tearing it up by drinking the shit out of it. So that's the shredded 6-pack that Parker Porter will have anytime soon. But I like him. Parker Porter, I think, wins this fight. Although, you know what? I always say when a fighter's fighting their 3rd fight in the UFC in their first contract and they don't have any wins in their first 2, they're going to fight very hard. So I wouldn't put a truckload of money on Parker Porter, and look at those odds. There's really no money to be made. Minus 290. Maybe Porter by knockout. Let me see. Does Parker ever knock anyone out? Yes, he does. Not often. No, not often at all. Let's take a look. Out of Porter's wins, he's got 5 KOs and 3 subs. It's not bad. He can take some people out. Has he taken anyone out in the UFC? No, he hasn't. Yeah, I don't know. I Porter is a parlay piece. Is kind of where I see this fight. Nothing else. How about you?
Yeah, I mean, Parker Porter couldn't ask for another, favorable matchup like he did his last 2.
Yeah.
Bardot is very hittable, as we've seen in his first 2 fights. The dude he just can't. I mean, he's got some skills. He throws some unorthodox strikes, but he just gets tagged a ton, and his chin just doesn't hold up. On the UFC level, he can't take a punch. This man just gets flatlined every single time, you touch his chin. And I feel like the same thing's going to happen with Porter. Porter's actually pretty damn crisp with his boxing. He surprised me in the last 2 fights heavily, and he's pretty fast. For a big guy, the dude is fast. The dude is super technical on the feet. He, other than the Chris Daukaus fight, he's looked very good, in his defensive, striking as well. He's very good at avoiding big shots, and he takes it to his opponents. He comes forward, even though he's shorter than most. He's, that reach doesn't really matter because he's going to get inside and he's going to come in there and he's going to throw it down, and he's very technical with it. So I think Porter gets it done here. I throw him in, like I said, one of my favorite parlays, like my big, heavy juice parlays, a little sprinkle on him. Throw him in there because I feel like he gets the job done.
Yeah.
All right. Moving on, we have a fight in a catch weight of 195 pounds between J.B. Pickett and Kyle Dawkins. Right now, Dawkins is a minus 300 favorite in the comeback. J.B. Pickett's plus 235 underdog. What do you got?
Okay, before we go to that, it's looking like it is very possible that we can get one of our good friends to come in and do this one and the main event. Let me tell her that if she can jump in quick, that would be great. Okay. Let's see, jump in as soon as you can. Okay. All right. And here we go. Okay. So since we've gone pretty quick here, we've been just barely over an hour. Not that we want to drag this on another half hour, but maybe we can, spend a little bit of time on this and give her a chance to come in, at least for the main event. Okay. So we're talking Dawkins against Pickett. Dawkins has been switched around so many different cards, and everything keeps falling apart. And even this was a late last-second thing. Anyway, he fought in October where he was beating Holland, although they did have a clash of heads, and they made it a no contest. Kyle Dawkins is tough. And he is 28 years old, 6'3". This fight being at 195, I think, really favors Dawkins. If you know, Kyle and Chris, his brother, are about the same height, and Kyle's always been a smaller frame guy a little bit than his brother, but his brother's a heavyweight. And so, in all honesty, 185 is a cut for Kyle Dawkins. So I think 195, and I think I really think Kyle's going to feel so good at this weight that if there was a 195 weight class, he would say, I'm moving there immediately. Just count me. Never expect to see me again at 185 if 195 exists. I think it's a perfect weight for him. He is 10-2. He did lose a last-second fight in a really closely competitive match against Brendan Allen, which has aged well. Look how good Allen's been looking lately. Even though he's a couple losses, but he's still a really talented dude, and so is Kyle. Bill Hawes did out-wrestle him, and then Kyle did look good briefly before that fight ended on the clash of heads against Kevin Holland, and he's super talented. Jamie Pickett is an unusual fighter. Pickett's 2 inches shorter, and at 33 years old, he is 5 years older. The Night Wolf, his last fight, was a win against the newcomer Joseph Holmes, which was only a month ago. So, I have mixed feelings about someone fighting this soon after a previous fight. He did kind of have control in that fight, although Holmes really did fight hard. But he did get hit. And that's an awfully quick turnaround for a 33-year-old. And I just don't. I mean, he's 2-2 in the UFC, so he would sure love to go 3-2 instead of 2-3. But I really don't see that it is. Yeah, she's not going to make it. Okay. Sorry.
No.
Yeah, well, that is what it is. So, all right.
No worries.
Yeah. Okay. So, yeah, this is Kyle Dawkins' fight. For sure. And there's not much money to be made, but I wouldn't bet the dog. This is for me like a favorite or pass, and there's no money on the favorite. And who knows how long the fight will go, how short the fight will go. Parlay piece. I say Kyle Dawkins parlay piece. Very legit parlay piece. And I'm pretty confident he wins, but I don't like laying. I don't like laying chalk of 3-1 anywhere in that area. And yeah,
our man Michael Cook is he's like at least name drop who it was.
Yeah. Well, I all of a sudden have amnesia. I can't remember, and I know Garrett can't either. But we'll try to think about it, and we'll let the Blood Diamond know directly. We'll DM you, as they say now, right? Yeah, I'll DM you on that, Blood Diamond. But thank you. Go ahead. Go ahead, Garrett Kerman. Continue. What do you think? The same thought as me on this Dawkins, or what?
Yeah, I get called Dawkins all day here. I think he's pretty much better everywhere. Dawkins has looked good on the feet. He's, obviously well versed in the grappling and jiu-jitsu. He's way better than Pickett there by a pretty massive margin. And I feel like he knows that he's better there. And I feel like he's going to take him there. He's going to drag him to the mat, and he's eventually going to submit him. I mean, I don't know what Pickett's going to be able to do here in order to stop that from happening. You're talking about a guy that did get subbed by, Charles Byrd back in the day. I mean, not too long ago on the Contender Series, on his second, I think it was his second fight in the Contender Series or his first one. I'm not sure. Either way, he got subbed via arm triangle. He's been subbed numerous times. I feel like Dawkins, and even thing is like Pickett doesn't use his, reach very well. So Dawkins knows how to, he'll be able to get inside the reach. And I don't think Pickett's got the power to stop, Dawkins on the feet. So I think he's going to be able to march him forward, land what he's got to land, and eventually get inside the clinch, take him down, and submit him. And I like Dawkins by submission at plus 240. I think we're getting a really good spot there. I mean, I don't know why it's so wide there, plus 240. I think if he's smart, he knows he can take him down. He knows he can control him there and, and get the finish. He's been taken down against lesser grapplers, and he should be able to get it done here. I throw him in a little bit of my heavy favorite parlay as well. All right.
Yeah, because Pickett has been subbed twice. That's actually a really well thought out strategy on that one. I actually second that. I think that that's a legit prop. So you said what, plus 300 for the sub?
Plus 240.
Yeah, still it's good. Yeah. I have no problem with that at all. I like that.
Yeah. All right. And what's up next, Mr. Colin Crandall?
And it's time for the main event of the evening. UFC Vegas 48. Main event, Jamie Pickett, Kyle Dawkins. And broken down by
No. Our main event is who?
And our main event of the evening is Jamal Hill against Johnny Walker. Johnny Walker Red, Johnny Walker Whiskey, brought to you by Johnny Walker. Great products to drink when you like to get smashed and fucked up. We are live with the Fight Analyst, Garrett Kerman, and the MMA professor, Colin Crandall, to break this shit down for you. Take it away, Garrett Kerman.
Well, we have a request here.
Yes, there we go. All right, we are live as we're going to break down this great matchup here in the UFC Vegas 48. We've got Jamal Hill against Johnny Walker, two big light heavyweights going to throw down and beat the fucking brakes off of each other here, as said by Colin Crandall. There you go, Michael Blood Diamond Cook. Hope you like that. Take that home and drink that. Eat that for dinner, mate. Thank you so much. Go ahead.
Oh, man. All right. We have a great main event this weekend. Jamal Hill and Johnny Walker, light heavyweight matchup. It's going to be an absolute banger. One that should not go 25 minutes. So I'm very happy about that. So right now, Hill is a minus 235 favorite in the comeback. On Johnny Walker is a plus 190 underdog. Who do you got?
Man, oh man. Jamal, we've had on the show 4 times. He's a super cool dude. He's originally out of Chicago, but now he trains out of my home state of Michigan, Grand Rapids, Michigan. He's representing Michigan, and the guy's awesome, training over there at Black Lion Jiu-Jitsu. He did have one hiccup when he got caught by Paul Craig, but that's aged well. Craig's submitting the shit out of everyone, and I think those two may see each other down the line, and I think Hill could get that win back one day. 30 years old, which at a light heavyweight is perfect, right in your prime. 6'4", 205, very composed, very unique, very cool dude. He really is a guy that I think kind of was brought up in the streets, and so he's a real dude, like the Diaz brothers like to say, but he's a very cerebral guy as well, a very pleasant, friendly, respectful guy, and really a student of martial arts and fighting for many years. So he's really kind of a contrast of people, and I think he's meant to be a star. And I think this is a very important fight for him. I think that some people will say that Johnny Walker being 2 inches taller. I mean, 6'6". They have him 6'5", although I think he might even be almost 6'6". But he's really unorthodox. He's big. I saw someone point out that Walker looked like he might have been 15 or 20 pounds heavier than Hill, and it's possible Walker's big. This is a big cut for Walker. Coming off the loss to Thiago Santos, it was a good fight. He just never could get going. He beat Ryan Spann, then he had 2 losses in a row, and then a couple wins before that, several wins before that. So he's 4-3. Am I right? 4-3 in the UFC. He really doesn't want to go 4-4. You know what I mean? Because I think at that point, he's almost like in this journeyman type of a position at the age of 29. You don't want to be a journeyman at 29, right when your prime is just starting at light heavyweight. This is a very important fight for both of them. Very important fight for both of them. 24 fights for the 29-year-old Johnny Walker. Only 10 fights for the 30-year-old Jamal Hill. But that also means less miles on Hill. Hill's only been fighting professionally for 4.5 years. And Walker has been fighting professionally since 2013, December. So 8.5 years. This is going to be a good fight. I honestly think that Hill is too good. I really think Hill is too good. I think a lot of people saw Hill's polish and composure and in the Jimmy Crute fight. A lot of people felt that Jimmy Crute was going to just smash him, take him down, and Hill really showed his skill and his ability to keep his head in it and keep focused. And he's slick. I guess his slickness. He's a slick fighter, and I think we all want to see a crazy fight. This could be that, and but I just think that I think Jamal Hill is too good. I think he's too good for Johnny Walker, and Johnny Walker's a character. And I'll tell you what, scary fight. I do think this fight will not go the distance, but it's probably over under 1.5, right? I would imagine, and there's no money to be made in the over, right?
I mean, you can bet the over in every round.
Well, that's right. It's a 5-round fight. I forgot about that.
Right.
So
it's probably set at
2.5.
No, it's set at 1.5 across the board. But there are some books that will give you, if you want to bet everything.
Whatever you want. Yeah. I like this fight to go under 2.5. And
over 1.5 sounds good too. The over 1 and over 2, over 1.5, over 2, and under 2.5.
Yeah. Trying to get a middle, like I sometimes talk about. Perhaps. I think this fight does not go the distance for sure. I think Jamal Hill wins. I like Jamal Hill as a parlay piece. This is going to be exciting, but I think Hill wins this fight. I think Jamal Hill is the A side here and is the better fighter. It's going to be good though, because Walker's been training at various different places for this fight, hasn't he? Didn't he end up somewhere good where they say he's out of?
He's still at SBG Ireland.
SBG Ireland, yeah. So who knows? I mean, it's going to be interesting. Maybe we'll see a more patient and composed Walker. I think Jamal Hill takes this, and hope to be talking to Jamal about it in the next couple of Tuesdays on the show.
Yeah, I agree. I like Hill here as well. I think he's, like you said, the more composed fighter. He looked really good in the Jimmy Crute fight. He came back after that brutal arm break that happened against Paul Craig. That was absolutely insane. Which I had Paul Craig by sub. I was very upset that they gave him fucking TKO win. That he fucking tapped and somehow it's a TKO win because he snapped his damn arm. That should be a technical submission. That technical
should be
TKO.
That's fucked up.
That makes no fucking sense.
Didn't even realize that.
He broke his arm. It's not like he broke his arm from punching him. He broke his arm from submitting it and trying to rip it off his socket. You know?
That should have been.
But it is what it is. I was very salty because that was a big prop bet that should have been. I think it was like +4, +500, something crazy like that. So I was a little salty. But other than that, I mean, he came back firing all cylinders against, and his last fight against Jimmy Crute. It was very good. I didn't have him winning, but I wasn't confident in Crute either. At the end, I felt like, Hill had the much, bigger power advantage there. And I felt like he was going to catch him coming in as well, which is why I didn't bet it. But I also didn't want to bet against, him getting taken down, him getting control, him getting submitted, because Jimmy Crute is a black belt as well. So, but like I said, like everybody says, not every black belt is, it's equal. Paul Craig
Right.
and Jimmy Crute. Paul Craig is definitely the better jiu-jitsu practitioner.
Yes.
But,
yes.
But in this fight, Johnny Walker, he looked extremely flat in his first fight after starting training at SPG Ireland with John Kavanagh. He just he looked different, and I don't expect him to fight like that at all. I feel like he's going to come forward. I feel he's going to come back to his natural crazy style of fighting and be exciting and all of that. But I feel like he's gonna land some good shots. He's gonna land some some hard shots. Hill's gonna have to weather a little bit of a storm early on, but I feel like he's gonna be defensively sound. He's gonna be able to stay at range, use his long limbs, and just eventually he's gonna crack Johnny Walker in the chin and put him away. I mean, like he was saying, he's like you can do all that flashy spinning, all that shit. At the end of the day, that takes a lot out of your cardio, and this is not 3 rounds anymore. This is 5 rounds. So you throw all that flashy shit. He's like, I'm going to clock you. Eventually you can't throw that all fight. Eventually you're going to have to stand still, and I'm going to hit you in the face. And I feel like that's what's going to happen. He's going to be able to, like I said, weather the early storm. Walker's going to get tired throwing all that spitting shit. I mean, he's got Michel Pereira in his corner, so he's going to be throwing all that spitting shit.
Yes.
So early on, this man's going to be wild, fucking insanely wild in the first, 2 rounds. But if he gets out of that 2 round, Hill takes over all day here. Minus 235, I really don't like the line. But, decent parlay piece. He probably wins by knockout, which is minus 135. Under 2.5 rounds, minus 188. It's not a lot to love here in terms of, betting. They have him heavily favored. Even across the board on the props too. I just don't like it. But I throw Hill in there as one of my heavy favorite parlay pieces. That's where Hill is staying. I think I got all that. I can, for the most part, mismatches when it comes to all of the the heavy favorites here. I got Jamal Hill, I got Parker Porter, I got Kyle Dawkins, I got Jonathan Pierce and Bautista, which is plus 305. So throw a little bit on there, even just $35 gets you $100 back. So
yeah, I like that. Yeah, we're really together. I think only one fight that we see differently is Buckley and Al Hassan. We both know that betting on the violence is definitely the sure bet in that one. But yeah, and I like the favorites. I think the favorites are going to come in on this card. I really do, and I think there's a good chance to make some money betting conservatively and getting some value bets here out of fighters. It could be a lot bigger chalk than they are, and then some of them are somewhat big, but put them in a parlay piece, and they still add some value to you for sure.
Exactly. So that's what we got. UFC Vegas 48. That's our best bets. That's our predictions. That's money in your pocket each and every week. But before we go, guys, I need you to go to my YouTube channel, click subscribe, click like, and go to Vegas Odds YouTube channel, click subscribe, and like the video there as well. We need you guys. We need you guys to to be there for us and help us out, grow this channel, and get us out there for more people to see. We want to bring you guys the best content we can. We want to bring you and put put money into your pocket and bring these fights and all this analysis to you, and put some money in your pockets and cash out. That's what we're here for. We're here to cash out each and every week, and we'll be back next week as always. But before we go, my man Colin Crandall, where can everybody find you?
Absolutely. As my friends in Scotland would say, subscribe to the show here. Yeah, so we've got a great show showing you how to make some good money. That was horrible. I started out good though, didn't I? Anyway, subscribe. Yes, please subscribe. I'm in the MMA Power Hour. We got a great show coming up this week. Pat Sabatini will come on for the first time in the MMA Power Hour. Can't wait to talk to him. We have Eric the Viking Paulson said he was going to break down the very, very compelling matchup between Beneil Dariush and
that fight's off now.
I know, and Makhachev, but that fight's off. So
okay.
we're gonna see what we're gonna do. But you know what, Bobby Green got some grappling, so we'll still have Eric give his thoughts on that and maybe some more really detailed submission stuff. Eric Paulson, one of the few guys who has a long time catch wrestling background as well as Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu. I don't think catch wrestling awards belts, but having trained under some legendary catch wrestlers, Gene LaBelle and some other people, he's as slick, as sick and amazing with his knowledge of catch wrestling, one of the foremost experts in the country, and black belt under the Machado brothers, also having trained with Hickson, Gracie, and people like that, and Dan Inosanto. And I mean, the guy's absolutely amazing, former Shooto champion. Eric Paulson knows as many ways to break your bones as probably the top submission guys in the UFC combined. So, you don't want to miss that. We're going to work on another guest too that we're going to have. So it's going to be great. MMA Power Hour on the Hannibal TV on YouTube and Facebook. The Hannibal TV, biggest combat sports podcast out of Canada. And we've got about 330. He's got about 330,000 subscribers there. So jump on, don't miss out. And, we're always doing our thing here. Hit me up anytime, support. We're open now to new sponsors for the MMA Power Hour. Very reasonable pricing, so please hit us up. And that's enough plugging for now. Garrett Kerman, so glad to be here with you. My partner here from the breakdown, the Fight Analyst. This guy rocks. And thank you so much for being here, Garrett, and having me. Always appreciate it. Love working with you.
Absolutely, man. I love you having you here. Breakdowns fights with us each and every week. So that's what for you guys this week. We'll see you all next week, and we will see you all cashing out at the ticket window. Until next time, we are out of here. Peace.
Peace.